Welcome back to the Super Not Funny Show reviews. And today I'm reviewing The Power Season 1 that's coming to you from Amazon Prime. So, what did I think about it, and should you be watching? And before we get into the review, get down there, hit like on this video. Amazon's The Power. This is a show I feel like not enough people are talking about, not enough people are, maybe weren't watching, and it's no good reason for it, because this show is awesome. As I mentioned before, it's about Earth just like ours, basically our world. But what if one day teenage girls got electrical powers, basically, and then they were able to give it to the other women in their lives? And how does this change the world? How does the society change how does a patriarchal society change when the women suddenly are, physically speaking, on par with, the men? When men have to start respecting women's space and women's, prerogatives and all that other stuff, or when the women essentially have a taser / gun at their hands at all times, how does that change the way society works? And it's been hella interesting. I think I mentioned again before, you're following several characters. So there's a Nigerian guy who wants to be a journalist, and he happens to, he happens to get a career sort of following up on all of these women's movements related to the power coming into being. And then you follow a family, the mayor of Seattle and her family, as this sort of starts happening, and the teenage daughter gets it. And the son becomes this radicalized men's rights douche. Dad's sort of like Mr. Mom. There's all this stuff going on there. And you also have a young black girl who's she's a foster kid in a house with an abusive foster father, and she gets the power, but also she's hearing what she thinks is the voice of God, trying to tell her that she's going to lead a movement. And you also have a British girl who she's the daughter of a British gangster, and her mom's killed, and she's sort of like gets into like her step family, and figuring out what to do with herself, basically. She's kind of a street tough. And so most of the season's just been like, when this power slowly rolling out, how do different people respond to it? How does the American government respond to it? The political machinations that go on in different countries, like Saudi Arabia crackdown, Romania. There's a lot of human trafficking. The women out that are trafficked, they sort of break out and they've formed their own little like enclave. And the Romanian, the Romanian president, he's married to a woman. She's been married to him for a long time, and what's she gonna do about him? Whose side is she gonna take? There's a lot of that whole what side are men? What side are they going to take? But really, how are women responding to this? And how many of them are going to actually, want the power versus wanting to like suppress, get rid of it, or oppose women with the power? And that there's a surprising amount of that, but I don't think it's weird, because we face that in our real world. If anything, this is just a big old, an analogy to, the abortion or any other kind of rights, equal rights thing for women. It's just a big old analogy, but like, what if this thing that biologically becomes part of a woman actually gives them a leg up in the world, and instead of having to ask for equal rights or equal treatment, they instead can demand it. And what are you going to do about it? And then, underneath all, there's, like I said, the backlash, the response. There's a men's rights kind of toxic social media guy, that anonymous guy that's called Urban Docs, who sort of, he's mobilizing ideologically, at least, a lot of the men, that aren't taking this change very well. And in some ways, I think that this show does not actually. I think it actually does not present how extreme some of the responses would be. They don't talk about the religious response. They don't talk about the day to day. It just seems like people are like, oh man, girls can shock us. I guess we got to start acting a little better. And things do get better in that sense. But also, I mean, the girls aren't invincible. They can be shot or whatever. There's not really a lot of showing where what I consider what happened would be a mobilization of people physically against women with the power. That being said, it's hella interesting. There are even points where there's not much forward movement in the actual plot. Like there's not a ton of forward movement in the plot regarding the young lady. And I should pull this up so I'll know the names of these people. There's not a lot of forward movement in the girl who's going to be leading the revolution, if you will, for women. That's talking to God. But they do show that she's sort of using religious overtones to kind of bring people together with her. The whole thing with the mom, what's her name, Margot, and her daughter, Joss. They don't like each other, or they're at each other, and then later on, because they're able to, they both have the power, they're able to share like experience, and they have a better understanding. Allie, she's the girl who's going to be the messiah, the women messiah, I guess. And just basically having her sort of go on her messiah journey while listening to this voice in her head. And then she's ends up at a convent, and there's this big thing about the tension between the religion that obviously Christianity, and this new religion, I guess you can say, that's sort of coming together, and how the girls come to look at her and the power she's got and everything like that. The whole thing with Tunde and his friend Duty, and how he sort of finds out about this while in Nigeria, which is a hella patriarchal society, and then sort of going to other hella patriarchal societies like Saudi Arabia, and seeing how this really does kind of change things. Like the answer to this, I suppose, again, there are guns, they would work, is that you have to ask men to shoot their sisters and moms and daughters, and that's like not going to happen. So there's just like a slow revolution on this world. I was very happy with Toni Collette's Margot, and John Leguizamo as her husband Rob. Their relationship is very interesting, and kind of seeing the dissolution of their marriage in the face of this power, as she's running against her political mentor, who's clearly going to take the men's rights aspect of it, and sort of seeing the American political response to this situation, which is fascist light. How about we call it that? Also, that Margot's trying to be a good mom, but boy, she is failing, because her son Matty, he's falling down that whole incel men's rights rabbit hole, and it's worse in this world, because like if you think incel culture and men's rights and all this other alpha male bullshit, if you think it's bad now, imagine a world where people are, where women are even more like, a lot of that is in response to the fact that women are a lot more empowered now than they were even 10, 20, 30 years ago. that's what's happening now in our world. Well, imagine a world where they're literally empowered. So it's a bunch of, it's going to be a groundswell. And so to kind of see him not just be, subverted, but also radicalized, and also he's just a little douchey 16-year-old or 15, 16-year-old that doesn't know shit. But all he knows is he's scared because the world he was promised, where he's number one, he's top, he's number one, and all this other stuff clearly isn't going to happen. And he's just, upset about that. And, the way that they can't stop this radicalization, no, they can't reason him out of it. They can't shame him out of it. He's pretty much going to just do it. And like I said, very interesting. And the whole thing with Roxy, seeing her mom having her mom murdered, and just trying to figure out who did it, and the result, just angry and super powerful and very capable with her powers, and just kind of becoming kind of the son that her dad never had. None of his sons who are going to take over his operations are actually worthy of them, and she is. But trying to earn his approval while also figuring out what happened to my mom. All very interesting things, and it leaves the finale sort of wraps up some things. It sets up a couple issues, like with Margot sort of losing control. She gets her powers, hides it, but loses control of her powers in a bad and very public way. Her Josh's boyfriend, who's intersex, has the power. What happened? What's going on with him? The kind of Allie, sort of making the last steps towards actually having a real movement, at least the nascent part of her movement, and Roxy sort of confronting her dad about her mom's death, and then getting out of Dodge and joining up with Allie. It's all interesting. It's so interesting that I hated that it was the last episode. Like episode 9, I was like, I need like 3 or 4 more episodes of this, because I know I'm not going to get it until late next year with the writer strike going on. No, so I highly recommend this show. I think there's a lot of great performances, a lot of interesting ideas going on. There's much world building that's really well done. And it just really kind of leaves me wanting more. It's the sort of down to earth but sci-fi concept that really works with me, and I really want this season 2 right now, honestly. So I think if you like that sort of thing, definitely check it out. But just check it out in general. I think this is a home run for Amazon, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see more. So anyway, those are my thoughts on The Power Season 1. What did you guys think about it? If you saw it, if you didn't see it, what are you doing? Go and watch it. But what did you think about it? What did you think about what I had to say? Get down to the comment section and leave your thoughts. Of course, you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And while you're down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. All that good stuff helps the algorithm to know more about this channel so that more people can see these videos. Thanks for joining me. I hope you'll come back to the channel. Check out more videos. We have plenty of reviews and podcasts in the future. I have been Mo, your commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture, and we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.